Hello Jedar, this is my feedback to your summary from last week. So let's start. Okay, you start with the title, the name of the speaker, good use of reporting verb. Sure. Yes, I suppose that is the main idea. They are different. If you want to expand a little bit, make this stronger, you can, but what you've done is enough already. Maybe you can make it a little bit stronger, something like argues that there is a crucial difference between invention and innovation, or argues that it is important for us to be able to make a distinction between innovation and invention, something like that. You can say that. But overall, this first sentence is focused and it includes everything. He explains that, okay, that's a good use of reporting verb. He explains that these two terms can be distinguished by their definitions firstly. Okay. Invention, usually we don't include an article when it's generalized. So just invention. The invention would be a specific, particular invention. But he's talking about invention generally. So invention is something that new ideas, technologies have not been implemented yet. Okay, I understand the thought behind this, but you want to rephrase this a little bit. It's just not very grammatical. Is something that new ideas. What is this? Yeah, I'm not sure what this is exactly. Something that new ideas, technologies have not been implemented. You can just say an invention is an idea or is a new idea or technology which has not yet been implemented or which has not yet been commercialized or something like that. Implemented, I think he does use that verb at some point. You just want to say that it's something that hasn't really become a product, a widely available commercialized product. Okay, so just to rephrase this a little bit. Innovation, here you could use a cohesive device. On the other hand, innovation is making an invention to be a new product and make profits by it. Okay, that is pretty clear. Now, making an invention to be, here you could make this a little bit more academic. Did he use the verb transform? And maybe you're trying to rephrase with your own words, which is a good idea. But you could always use something else that sounds more academic instead of make to be. Transforming an invention into a new, or developing an invention out of a new product, something like that. Okay, so your word choice here can be a little bit more academic. And here, and make profits by it, sure. In order to make profit by it, why not? Profit as an abstract noun should be singular. Profit is just a general abstract noun, not countable. By this definition means that, okay, here you use a prepositional phrase. By this definition means that, I'm not sure. This is not grammatical, so you can just say this means that, or if you start with by, you cannot say just means that. You need something. Something is missing here. So the best way to do that, I would just say this means that, or something like that. Just make it more clear, because this is not grammatical. By this definition means that, it doesn't work grammatically. So you want to rephrase that. Just say this means that. Or in other words, that's a good way to put it. In other words, invention may not bring to market. May not bring what to market? Here there's something missing. May not bring to market, but the innovation will. Yeah, again, this is a bit ungrammatical. Do you mean to say that in the inventions, again, there is no article here. The is just talking about a specific invention. We want to be more general. In other words, comma, inventions, yeah, what is this saying? May not bring to market. But I understand what you're trying to say. One of them is a commercialized product which is brought to market. The other one isn't. Not necessarily. Not all inventions are commercialized and widely available to the public on the market, whereas innovations are. The very definition of innovation is that it is a commercialized product. So I would just rephrase this again with more academic language. Innovation is the most variable economic and social issue. I mean, why variable? So here you want to work on the word choice. Variable has a very specific meaning in mathematics, for instance, in statistics, as I'm sure you're aware of, variables in math, statistics. And why is innovation the most variable economic? I mean, there are a lot of social and economic issues in the world, right? So why should innovation be the most variable of them? I'm not very sure what this is saying. So this is a bit unclear. Are you saying that it's difficult to define? I'm not sure. In what way is it a variable economic and social issue? So you want to, maybe with a more clear word choice, this idea will become more clear. But also, the impact of innovation is always uncertain. Sure, he does say that. You've used a good cohesive device here. Since science and technology of innovation do not always link with its economic values. Yeah. Okay. So this sentence follows up on the previous one. Yeah, okay. Very good. Here you might want to use some linking device. Maybe you can link the two sentences together, make it into one. So you could say something like, the economic impact of innovation is often unpredictable, since technological innovations do not always translate into economic profit, something like that. Because here science and technology of innovation, I'm not sure. I like the use of these terms, but just the way they are, technology of innovation, maybe you just want to say technological or scientific innovations do not always bring economic profit or something like that, right? But I applaud the attempt to try and phrase it with your own words. This is very important. Instead of simply copying the wording of the author of the video, you've tried to use your own words, which is always a good thing, and that's how you learn. Even if the phrasing is not perfect, it's very important to try and say it in your own words. That's the only way to improve. You will never know when this innovation becomes popular in the market, sure. All of that has to do with the unpredictability, right? So these three sentences, you can use a bit more cohesion. This whole little section here, starting from but to this one, right? You can just say, again, use the name of the speaker. Furthermore, as Archibugi argues, or Archibugi demonstrates, comma, the economic impact of innovation is often unpredictable, because technological innovations are not always linked with economic profit. And there you go. You see, you've said that in one kind of nice sentence, and it's very clear, right? Okay. To conclude, invention and innovation have their own different definitions, not only from the technique difference, but also in the market. Yeah, technique, I'm not sure what this is. Is that even a word? You mean technical, right? Technical differences. Word choice. But also in the market, and it is hard to distinguish them. Sure. Okay. I will accept this as a concluding sentence because it does go back to the idea here. They're different and it's kind of hard to make a distinction. Sure. Now, he did end with that example of the pen. And by the way, you've done a good job to avoid examples because we say that in these summaries, we do not include examples. So exactly, you do not have to include. You shouldn't include them. But what's the supporting idea and the concluding thought that he ends with? And that's why he tells the story of the pen. He was saying, well, it's a little product. He kind of pulled it out of his pocket, almost as a kind of a magic trick. And then he said, look at this little pen. When it was invented, and it was just an invention, nobody even paid attention to it. It was very insignificant. The patent was rejected. Nobody thought it would bring any economic value or any impact on the market. And yet, years later, when it became an innovation, look at this tremendous, enormous impact that the pen has brought to society. So it was kind of a paradoxical idea. And you can't conclude with that because it's a really nice kind of takeaway. So I could say something like, in conclusion, the speaker, or the speaker concludes with something like that, and then this kind of paradoxical idea. Even though sometimes an invention can be seemingly insignificant, when it becomes an innovation, it can have an enormous economic impact. But that impact is not always predictable. Something like that. Without mentioning the pen, and there you can round off the summary. But overall, you've tried. It's well structured. You've started with a clear main idea. Then you have your supporting ideas, and then you end with a conclusion. So structurally, it's a very good paragraph. I would say a bit more. Mention the speaker more. He claims, he argues, right? As you say here, he explains. You can mention Archibuggy or the speaker or the lecturer, something like that. And then you can try and make the phrasing a little bit more academic. But overall, this is a good paragraph, good summary. Keep up the good work. I hope this is helpful to you, Jaidar. Good luck.